Oh hi. Varanasi, the main town of the area of the same name in northeast India. State of Uttar Pradesh. The city having for Hindus the same value as Rome for Catholics. SB calls them Rome Hindus. Center of Brahmanical learning. It is considered the sacred city for Buddhists and Jains, which is the most esteemed by the place of Hinduism in the world. Is the center of earth in Hindu cosmology. One of the oldest cities of the world and probably the oldest in India. It is known for the vegetarian kitchen. The name of the city of Varanasi, most likely, comes from names of two Varuna rivers, by name the ancient deity of water of Varuna. Anasya as Varuna joins Ganges to the north, Anasya to the south of the city. According to other opinion, the Varuna river originally was called Varanasi, as named the city. The last is seldom considered by historians, though some ancient texts do this hypothesis very probable. Avimuktaka Anandakanana Makasmasana Saranikana Vart, Sudarshans Brahma, Ramya and Kashi also occur among historical names of Varanasi. The city is mentioned in Rigveda as Kasi or Kashi, shining as a hint on the historical status of the city as center of sciences, literature and culture. Hashakanda describes glory of the city in verses by Skandapurana. In one of verses God Shiva speaks. According to legends, the city was founded by God Shiva about 50-100 years ago, and therefore Varanasi is one of the most important places of a pilgrimage in India. Varanasi is included into the 7 of the sacred cities of Hinduism. It is a lot of Hindu writing, such as Rigveda, Skandapuran, Ramayana and Mahabharata mention him. It is considered that the age of Varanasi is about 30-100 years. This city was the important commercial and industrial center thanks to production of muslin and silk, perfumery, products from ivory and a sculpture. At the time of Gautama Buddha, about 567 was born BB. Varanasi was the capital of the Kingdom of Kashi. English, Russian. The outstanding Chinese traveler Xuanzang described him as the center of religious, educational and art activity, noting that the city stretched more than for 51 km along the west bank of Ganges. In the first third of the 18th century, Varanasi became the capital of the recreated independent kingdom of Kashi, which governors coming from a Brahmanical dynasty Narayan accepted the title Kashi Naresh and proclaimed themselves Maharajas. As the residence, the first Raja Balwant Singh in the 18th century constructed a fort Ramanagar. The fort was located in the east from Varanasi on the opposite coast Ganges. He is built from cream sandstone in Mogulsky style with the carved balconies opened by inside patios and picturesque pavilions. The palace Chet Singh near Shivalkai, constructed by the Maharaja Chet Singh, was one more residence Kashi Naresha. The kingdom of Kashi first consisted in a vassal relationship with Oudh, but in 1775 passed under protectorate of the British East Indian Company. In 1910 the new Indian state with the headquarters in Ramanagar, but without jurisdiction over the city of Varanasi, was formed. Naresh Poraj is, by tradition, considered as the head of Beners. Ramanagar still occupied a fort. Now a part of a fort Ramanagar is given to the Museum of History by the Maharaja of Beners and is open for public. The fort is connected to Varanasi the pontoon bridge. In his territory the esteemed temple of Vyasa, the mythical author of the Veda, Puran, and also the author and one of the main characters of the Mahabharata, is located. During the revolt in the city there was a slaughter made by the British military, during which died many Hindu soldiers and residents. Varanasi lies throughout about 8 km under 25 AE and 83 AD AOL. From Greenwich. Having stretched by an amphitheatre on the left coast of Ganges, which in this place forms the small bay and has width changing from time to time, years from 550 to 850 m, with a depth from 25 to 30 m of D. Is to look at him from the coast of Ganges, represents very original and scenic view. It consists of a labyrinth of dark, crude, dirty, twisting and narrow streets on which there can pass an elephant not everywhere. Cruise here not in the use. Houses which number in 1872 reached 35741, generally 3-storied, but often meet as well to 5 and 6-storied. As each top floor is given a little forward over lower, the topmost floors costing 1 mind and other houses almost meet among themselves. Very many of them are supplied with balconies, balustrades, and round or more likely pyramidal domes. The diversity of paints which painted their most part with the image on the face of flowers, animals, people and gods gives them very original form. Benares serves as the center of worship of Shiva, or Makadev, and the temples devoted to this deity is in the city more than 1,000. But their most part in the architectural relation doesn't represent anything majestic. The oldest, the most considerable and the most esteemed and visited between them is the temple of Vishresa, that is the Lord of the world. In all these temples as the main subject of honoring serves standing lingam from a stone. The bulls devoted to Shiva freely run on all city streets, meanwhile as in many temples Durji the jumping monkeys who are brought up there almost continually meet and cared. From the temples belonging to sect of the Jain are remarkable on the architecture, in particular the temple Mangmandal, the house of Mandal Singha, which in 1680 was turned into observatory and is supplied with the magnificent, remain still astronomical tools. It is equal as Jain Mandal, the temple the Jains, however, coming already to destruction. Among 300 mosques of one their most majestic which are in B. Aurangzeb's mosque, built near the coast of Ganges, on the place of the destroyed Hindu temple, with 3 domes and 2 minarets. The number of residents of Benares reaches 207,570. 1881. But strongly hesitates thanks to a great number of the pilgrims and other newcomers who are flowing down daily to Benares, whose number in time Ramlila and Diwali, to the biggest and brilliant of all religious festivals in Benares, reaches just over up to Cardman. Among them there are more than 2,000 Brahmins, a great number of beggars, tramps, any gadabouts and eternally covered with dirt, almost absolutely nude fakers. But besides, many rich and notable Hindus temporarily are the life settle in recent years in Benares, where some of them and die. As favorite places of walks of inhabitants serve stone ladders. Hota. Going from the embankment to Ganges. To die near Ganges, the patients lying at death's door are ordered to carry themselves on these ladders on which there is a burning of corpses. It is considered that if the person dies here, his soul won't reincarnate anymore, he will leave the samsara wheel. B. And now, as in old times, serves as the center of Brahminsky learning and science, though in the latest time Calcutta, especially in studying of languages, more and more enters a competition with Benares. The Benares pundits are still considered as the first authorities on all religious questions.
from a set of educational institutions are most remarkable Hindu board and founded in 1792.
Sanskrit board. Both of them receive a subsidy from the English government. In the first of them reading, the letter and notation, Hindu laws, sacred literature of Hindus in Sanskrit language and astronomy are taught. In another English, the English history and literature, Sanskrit language, languages Hindu and Persian is taught, it is equal as mathematics, political economy and so forth. Besides, serves as the center of the blossoming industry and has important trade value. In trade, the jewelry of precious metals, gold and silver fabrics, a velvet produced here, silk and cottons gained popularity. Here everything that India and the countries, adjacent with her, make valuable in the field of art and work is brought for sale, it is equal as all natural products together with various works of the English industry. From the Benas merchants some belong to the richest in all India. Very ancient city, which in Sanskrit poems is given the name Kazi, that is brilliant, and it is considered school of Brahmins.
In 1193 it was won Buradi by Qutb-ud-Din and in 1529 is attached by Babur to the Empire of Delhi.
When falling the last at the beginning of the 17th century, the Prince of Ghazipurskia became the master of the city and
as country and in 1775 obeyed to dominion of the English East Indian Company, which in 1781 replaced him and attached the city with his district to the possession.
Kiasi. Sharing, the sacred city of the Hindus. An account of in ancient and modern times. London, 1868. And Hindu tribes and castes, as represented in Benas, 1872. The city is located in the center of the valley of Ganges in northern India on her crescent shallows. It is the southern part of the state of Uttar Pradesh. Varanasi is the center of the district of the same name.
City agglomeration of Varanasi unites 7 subunits with a total area of 112.26 square
km. All agglomeration stretches from 25 EN82 EGAOL to 25 EN83 AEL of GAO. The earth in the district is very fertile, thanks to the low level of soil and frequent floods of Ganges in the Indo-Gangetic plain.
Varanasi is located in the highest point between Ganges and Varuna with average height about 80 m.
Owing to lack of inflows and channels, the area is rather dry that in the past had to be convenient for formation of settlements. However, the modern location of the city differs from a little specified in some ancient texts. The distance between confluences of Ganges to Varuna on the one hand and Ganges from Asya with another where Varanasi is located, makes 4 km. The coast Ganges is included into a route of many pilgrimages yet are made by Hindus. In Varanasi, a humid subtropical climate with significant difference between summer and winter temperature. The summer is long, from early April to October with monsoons and very hot, as in the southern Asia. Temperature fluctuates from 32 C up to 46 C. Winters are long with strong daily variations. Warm days and cold nights. Thanks to waves of cold air from the Himalayas, temperature from December to February often happens below 5 C. In the winter fogs, and in the summer, winds under loose name are frequent. Because of water pollution, thanks to dams is higher on a current and temperature increase, the level of Ganges decreased a little and on the center of a current new islands appear. Admits Hinduism of Varanasi is one of the main places of honoring of Shiva and Ganges. The city is also sacred for Buddhists. In Benas and Sarnath located near Buddha Shakyamuni began a sermon of the doctrine. And Jains. In view of presence of the large Muslim community, to a third of the population. In the city Islam is of great importance. The main religious activity in Varanasi is connected with embankments along the left, western bank of the river of Ganges, Hata. In total there are 84 gai, the most important in the religious planner, are listed as arrangement from the south on the north. Aussie,Heder, Dasashvamid, Manikarnika, Panchaganga. The most widespread religious ritual for Hindus is ablution in waters of the sacred river.
Daily this ceremony is carried out by tens of thousands of people whose big part pilgrims from all India and Nepal.
On the Sashvamigai, next to Imhata and also on Asigai, RT. A fiery puja. The sacrifice ceremony to river god of Ganges which is carried out by several specially prepared Brahmins is nightly carried out Ganges. On Manikarnika, one of two platforms for cremation is located. Claim that fire on this place doesn't go out throughout many millennia. The second platform is located on Harishandragai. Since ancient times many pilgrims arrive in Varanasi to die there, or bring the late relatives from other regions to make Antieshi ceremonies. According to some data, there are satis cases to this day. Besides cremation there is a practice to let go bodies of the dead down the river without burning. The shocking funeral ceremonies attract a huge number of tourists from all over the world. For last centuries in Varanasi thousands of Hindu temples, mandir, big and small, are built. Ancient constructions practically didn't remain because of the frequent attacks of Muslim armies and destructions caused by them. The most known is the temple of Kashi Vishwanath, Gold Temple, in the urban area of Godoliya devoted to Shiva. The name is meant by Mr. Velana in Sanskrit. It is one of Shiva's epithets.
The present temple was built in 1785 Makaran of Indore Kilyabe Holkar.
The roof of a mandir in 1835 was covered with 820k of pure gold which the Sikh governor of Punjab Maharaja Ranjit Singh offered.
Near Vishwanath Mandir there is a temple of Annapurna built in 1725 by the Marathski military leader Peshvi Bajirao I.
There is a belief that the one someone worships this goddess will never remain hungry. From ancient temples the temple Durgakund, or the monkey temple, devoted to Durga is also known. 18th century. He is allocated with red color of walls which corresponds to the image of the goddess which is allegedly self-shown in this temple. On Lalithagot, being under the patronage of the royal family of Nepal, the only wooden temple in Varanasi in the Nepalese style on a temple sample Pashupatinath in Kathmandu is located. Wood of valuable breeds for his construction was brought from Nepal.
At the end of the 17th century of Varanasi, it was almost completely destroyed by the Mogolski Padishah Aurangzeb, who disposed to build on ruins of Hindu temples of the mosque.
So appeared Kainvapi Masjid on former Vishwanath Mandir's place in Godaliya and Alambra Masjid. Mosque Aurangzeba. Unbindamakhav Mandir's place. The last, having two minarets about 70 m high, are dominated over the coastline Ganges on Panchaganga. In the middle of the 20th century, minarets sustained damage to result of an earthquake. One of them collapsed, another was sorted for safety reasons. Buddhism. A suburb of Varanasi, Sarnath, is the place where Buddha Shakyamuni, according to the legend, read the sermon, the first after an enlightenment, the Bena's sermon, turned a doctrine wheel. Here Buddhist shrines, a mortared comic, ruins of the temples built at the Emperor Ashoka are located. Sarnath is the place of a pilgrimage of Buddhists from around the world. Numerous temples and monasteries of different national schools of the Buddhism are built up here.
Christian temples and missions are located generally in a cantonment of Varanasi, where earlier the colonial authorities were placed and there was strongly European presence. Across Varanasi and its vicinities lies several routes of a Massachusetts religious pilgrimage, in Hindu tradition called by yatra. Rules of such pilgrimage order: walking on foot, silence observance. Pilgrims don't use umbrellas for protection against heat or rainfall. They have to eat food only once a day, abstain from the use of the stupefying substances. It is the most significant and difficult yatra. It is considered that Shiva twice a year carried out this practice. It is a 5-day route 80 km long on dusty tracks, through fields and villages. On this route it is necessary to visit not less than 108 temples. The pilgrimage begins a prayer in the temple Vishwanath. The initial point is Manikarnika. A part of this yatra is participation in funeral ceremonies and a handout to Brahman. During the next 4 days pilgrims visit the ordered temples. In the last day they reach Panchaganga and carry out ablution in the river. Then go towards Manikarnika, making ablution and praying in the temples located on Hota and in Vishwanath Mandir. The pilgrimage comes to the end in Saksha Vinayak to a mandira where God Ganesh is called and witnesses about Pankarasha's performance of a yatra. Pantarkava Yatra. This yatra is most popular because it can be executed within 1 day. The pilgrimage begins from Asigai and continues along the coast. On the way believers make ablution, on the Sashvamadgai, Dasashamavra and Shitala Mata pray in temples. Then the way proceeds on the riverbank to Adikeshav Hota, from where the return route to Panchaganga lies through the city. The last on the way is Manikarnika. Pilgrims finish a yatra visit of temples Vishwanath, Annapurna and a well of Gayanvapi. In urban development of Varanasi, the narrow streets and lanes called by Gali are typical. Often they so narrow that on them it is possible to move only on foot or on motor transport. Densely inhabited quarters which are called a mohalla formed by Gali. Many Gali and mohalla are specialized. In them the markets intended for sale of certain goods are placed. Jewelry, silk, household appliances, ware and hardware, dairy products, furniture, etc. Often such specialization is reflected in names of quarters. Kachari Gali. Street food. Hoa Galia.
Dairy products. Mandi, Teteri Bazaar. Bronze and copper products. Seti Bazaar. Silk sale. Gave. Names of some quarters go back to the communities living in them. For example, Punjabis live in Lakoritola, Sindhi and Gujaratites in Saniya, natives of the southern India and Nepal in Chokhamak, Afghans in Binyabak. Bengalis throughout centuries lodged in Bengali Tola and lanes at Agai Kedar, and Muslims live in Madanpur and Jalalapur. In some names of the famous people are imprinted. For example, Duranagar is called in honor of the beloved son Shah Jahan, Dara Shikoka, who was the governor of the province in the 1668 years. Wajid Ali di Shah, 1822-1887. Removed with British from a throne, the Nawab Order spent the last years to Nawabganj.
There are areas which adopted names of the rivers, ponds and wells.
Ramkand, Durgakand, Mansaravar. Economy and traditional crafts. In India, the silk sari from Varanasi is beauty symbol. The Benares silk is considered one of the best in India. Traditionally Muslims and Sales Hindus are engaged in weaving. Silk yarn. Wark. Arrives from the southern state of Karnataka here. In Varanasi it is processed in a special way to make softer wool, twist, polish with wax, processed starch, flour, varik. Then from the processed yarn weave a cloth of katanas. From the Benares fabrics, heavy brocade of a yamdana, to which add a dawn, gold or silver thread, is best known. Nowadays such fabric becomes only by the special order. It is more often used synthetic a dawn. Also stuffed silk fabric tanchi is known. From the ornaments used at her production are popular initially Bengalese, into which the Benares handymen also interweave a dawn and tuvalkala. Figured motifs which are often used in the Benares saris are called the guldast, bouquet, ambi, mango, latif, flowers, is white quarry stone, Ileana and a kidney, butted, buds and clouds.
Production of silk concentrates in the areas of Ulaypura, Madanpura and Lalapura.
Many weavers work at home.
Points of wholesale of silk, sata, are located in the markets in Goldkar and Kansgalia.
Varanasi traditionally is an important education center of India. Now in this city the Sanskrit University Samprananand. It is founded in 1791. And the Benares Hindu University are located. It is founded in 1916. In the suburb of Varanasi, Sarnak, located the Central Institute of the highest typological researches. In 2009-2018, the Central University of Typological Researches. The only thing in India a higher educational institution with the state accreditation and financing, the leading teaching in Tibetan.
The institute was founded in 1967 at the initiative of Jawaharlal Nehru and Dalai Lama of 14.
Varanasi is known for wide circulation of vegetarianism. Not only house but also public catering in the city vegetarian. Meat is practically not eaten here. Famous inhabitants. Demetrios Galanos is the Greek Indianist, the writer and the philosopher, lived in Varanasi since 1786 to the death in 1833. Tulsidas, 1552-1623. Is the Indian poet, the author of the epos Ramakaritamanasse, the representative of the movement of Abhakta which in the 15th, 16th century protested against Brahmanical orthodoxy. Kabir, 1398-1448. Is a poet, the thinker, one of outstanding representatives of the movement of Abhakta. James Ballantyne, the Scottish Orientalist, from 1841 to 1861 was the director of Royal College in Varanasi. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.